All right, what's up, everybody? We are going to take a look at how to create a really cool superhero landing effect. It's going to look something like this. Okay, full disclosure, I have done this twice and I have done it differently both times, and I am hoping that we will be able to figure this out together as quickly as possible today. The first thing we always want to do is create our sequence. I'm going to go to New Item, Sequence, and I'm going to do AVC HD, 1080p, 1080p 30, and I'm just going to leave this as sequence 4 for now. And now I have a sequence where I can start working. I want to bring in my clip of Madison. I've got that in my folder. I called it Superhero Masking. When I double click, it opens here. And I'm going to bring in this clip of Madison. Now, this is important. We've gone over this since August, but I want to keep the existing settings because I want it to be the settings that I have designated for this project. So I'm going to click Keep Existing Settings. And now, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can actually see here a little bit better. I'm going to hit play, and you will see what is actually happening is Madison actually just jumps. That's it. And then she gets up and walks out of the frame. That's it. That's one shot, right? It's one shot. It's not two separate shots. They did not stop recording. It is one shot. And the reason that is important is because that allows us to have a clean plate. That is what is right here. The clean plate is the background with nothing happening, right? We've got her jumping here. Here, there's nothing in the background. There is actually something happening, and that is that the clouds are moving, and that does kind of cause a little bit of a problem for this, but for the most part, I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to hit C on the keyboard to to access the razor blade. I think I said that wrong. I don't know. Anyway, so I have cut that. I now have different audio and video. I'm actually going to take all the audio out because we don't need that. I'm going to come up here and drag the clip of Madison over, and then I'm going to drag my clean plate under, and I'm going to make those both the same length. So now we have this. Actually, if I wanted to, I could leave that there just to give it a little bit of extra time, but I don't know if you noticed the camera actually does move. You can see that things kind of bump, and that's probably just where they're reaching up to hit the record button to stop recording. No big deal. All right, so we've got two layers. Right here, I have Madison. The layer below that, if I turn off the top layer, I have my clean plate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find when she gets to her highest point, and I think that'll work for me for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit C on the keyboard, and I'm going to cut right there. I'm going to hit V to go back to my arrow tool, and I am going to now do a frame hold. I'm going to click frame hold options, and I'm just going to click OK. And now what has happened is this whole clip right here at the beginning is frozen. And now that I have this frozen clip, you can see here that I can move back and forth. What I'm going to do is actually come in here and I'm going to do a mask. We've done masks before, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this, but I am going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see how detailed you really do need to be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to do a good job of tracing around Madison because you're going to use that in a pretty cool way. So I'm going to go up, I've double clicked on this. Go to Effect Controls. Under Opacity, I'm going to use the pen tool to create the mask. Now, I can adjust my mask. I can adjust the feathering. I can get rid of the feathering completely, whatever I want to do. I'm going to set mine to about 5 for the feathering, so there's a little bit, but not too much. Now, I want to right-click on the clip that I have just created, and I am going to click Boom! Now, let me show you real quick. You can see I just turned off the bottom layer, so you can see that when I clicked around Madison, I was able to cut her out and get rid of all the background. If I were to come here and click invert, it would do the exact opposite, which is not what we're wanting for this project. But what I'm going to do now is right-click. I am going to click on Nest, and that is going to create a nested sequence. I'm going to call this Nessie. and click OK. Not that it really matters. And I have a low level exception. I don't even really know what the issue would be there, but we'll see if it really matters. Now I'm going to come back and click Fit to zoom back out so you can see this whole area. And I am going to click on this, and I am going to come up here to, I'm going to come over to Effects, and I'm going to search for Transform. And when I click Transform and add it to this, it's going to allow us to do an effect. One thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the shutter angle. We're going to change that to 180. And that's actually going to allow us to create a blur when we put this clip into motion. So what I want to do now is I want to come to the end of that, and I am going to set a positional keyframe. This is where I want this to be. All right. Then I'm going to come back a few frames, and I'm going to come to my X and Y axis here, and I'm going to take Madison and drag her up. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but when she's still, it's not that big of a deal down here, but up here, she's in motion. There's a lot of blur there. So now I have created my starting point and my ending point. So now I'm going to take this and hit play, and she falls in to the frame. Now, all this is at this point is a matter of matching up the speed of the fall to the speed of her actually coming down to the ground there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to actually I have an idea that theoretically maybe I could pull this over this clip, maybe set the opacity on this clip down a little bit so that I could see through there. And you can see her coming down right there. And then I could try to match the speed of those things up a little different way. So let me see if I come back here. And you can see that her speed falling is a little fast. I don't know if that's actually going to work. I feel like in theory, it's probably a pretty good idea, but I'm going to move this back a little bit to see if I can make the speed work a little better. And there's still like this pause. I have always had this issue where there's that pause for some reason right when she is hitting the ground. So I'm wondering if I could maybe come to this and I wonder if there's a way to trim this up. And this really is just trial and error. It's like work with it to see what works for you. So I think what I want to do now is actually come in and I will go to the end of the clip, and I've got my shutter angle at 180, and I'm going to go back to the beginning of the clip. That's actually where I want it to be, 180. So I'm going to set my keyframe there. Then this ending keyframe, I'm going to set it to maybe something a little like maybe 90. So it'll be less noticeable with the blur there. So now it's really blurry at the top, less blurry at the bottom right before she turns normal. So I think that works. Now it's just kind of an issue of going in and working with the sound. So you know how to do sound. That's going to be in our superhero bin. You can do different sounds here. I have, if I double click, I have that sound and then have that of her landing. So I want to go with the superhero punch sound here at the beginning. I'm going to drag it down to where she's like starting to fall. I want it to be a little before she falls. So let's see. And then if I click R, it turns on the rate stretch tool. I can like stretch that and kind of slow it down. And I'm going to now go back and add my superhero sound. That sounds like somebody hitting the ground, which is going to happen right here. And so I'm going to add that sound effect right there. But let's see. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit R on this and stretch this out a little bit more. By slowing it down, we're going to lower the, like, there we go. That feels a little better. So you need to just go in and play around with this, see what works for you. You can find other sound effects inside of Soundstripe if you would like. Just see what all they have. I'm not even sure. If you want to add the dust effects here, you can do that. So when she hits, boom, then you can bring the dust down and put it on top of that. And now we got those dust. I mean, I guess it would be kind of cool with the flames hitting. I don't know. So let's see. If you want to take that and adjust that, now you can hit V on the keyboard, go up here, go to Effect Controls. You can scale that around however you want to. Click Motion, and then you can drag that down to where it hits right there. So now let's see. And I think that looks pretty bad. So I'm just going to take it out. I don't think I need it in there. It's entirely up to you. And I can live with that. And now she walks off victorious. This is a challenging tutorial. It's definitely something that's worth knowing, but it has definitely been something that's difficult to put together, something that I don't do very frequently, but I can definitely see the potential. So if you like it, hopefully you can figure out ways to creatively incorporate this into your future work. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll probably reach out to myself because I'm pretty sure I have some questions. This was a challenge.